Hi, this is Bob and welcome to Off the Cuffs. I'm very excited today. I have a good friend of mine, hometown favorite, hometown hero, hometown legend, hometown three-time All-American, hometown 1998. I could go on championship, Chicago Bulls. I could go on Rusty LaRue. Welcome to Off the Cuffs, brother. I appreciate you coming by, man.
Yeah, man. It's been great to be here.
Yeah, so, you know, we have a lot of people come through here. And one of the things that I love about having hometown guys come through here is that a lot of times people don't know who labor amongst them. People have no clue who's walking amongst them. You know, I was talking to some of the people in the office, and when we found out you agreed to come, I said, did you know that he was a 3 times All-American at Wake Forest? Did you know that he played with Mike Jordan? Did you know he played basketball at Wake? Did you know that he coached under Dino? So many things about you that people don't even know, that younger generation. Not only that, but he's a father. He's a business owner. There's so many facets to Rusty LaRue. And so, you know, I wanted you to stop by today just to talk to you about so many things. Hope I can get all my questions in. Most of them I know, but a lot of people don't know. You're originally from this area, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was born in Baptist Hospital back when they were still birthing kids there. So, yep, born and raised.
You went to high school over in Greensboro, right?
I did, yeah. I grew up actually, went to middle school here in Forsyth County. We moved just over the county line and high school, and so went to Northwest Guilford, class of 92 from there, and, you know, was blessed to, you know, we got great school systems around here, so I was blessed to have some good high school coaches and good people to mentor me along the way and get a chance to go to college at Wake.
Let me ask you a question. How did you end up at Wake? Because you were a basketball, baseball, you were a quarterback, right? Football player.
Yeah, so, you know, I grew up a Wake fan. I started going to basketball camp at Wake when I was 8 years old when Carl Tacey was there, and I remember a big day in my life was when I was like 12 years old. I came back from camp and I was taller than Muggsy Bogues. So it was a pretty cool day. But I was getting recruited heavily, you know, for a lot of schools, and Wake wanted me to play 2 sports. That was one of the main reasons. They recruited me for football and basketball. And actually the baseball coach said, hey, we'd like you to play baseball too if you can fit it in. And so when I looked at colleges and I had some bigger schools like Florida and some bigger SEC schools want me to just play football. But you know, knew while that would have been great, I knew I wanted to go to a smaller school, and Wake's a great education. So I committed actually during my junior year to go there, and I was on football scholarship and basically a walk-on for basketball, but treated like a scholarship player. And so, yeah, it was mainly to play 2 sports and to get to stay close to home and compete in the ACC.
I remember you being in Wake. I'm not a few years, but a couple years older than you. And I remember you being at Wake, and I was like, wow, this man playing football and basketball and doing it at both of them. So let me ask you a question. So you graduated from Wake in what, 90 what?
96.
96.
Yep.
And what happened after 96? What did you do after that?
Yeah, so we had some not so great football teams. We lost quite a few games. I got to break some NCAA records my senior year with passing, and had some NFL teams talking to me. I actually threw for a couple teams, but, you know, we were really good in basketball. Yeah. My senior year, we went to the Elite 8 and lost to Kentucky in the Elite 8. And that was Tim Duncan's junior year, my senior year. And so I didn't get to really do any NFL combine stuff. So NFL draft kind of came and went, and nobody drafted me. And so at that point, I had an opportunity to go to the Portsmouth Invitational, which is like an NBA scouting combine. Played well, got invited to the Summer League with the Houston Rockets and played well, and got a chance to go to camp with Chicago. And that was actually my rookie year. I actually left camp in Chicago my rookie year and went overseas and played in Paris for a month. Yeah. And came back from that and spent about 2 months looking for a job for basketball and couldn't find one, and actually was really close to quitting. And taking a regular job, and got kind of a call out of the blue to go to a minor league team in Connecticut, and finished my first year out of school in the minor leagues. And then the next year was 98 and got invited to camp with Chicago. Right. Ended up making that team. So, you know, a lot of people ask me what made me decide to play pro basketball instead of football or even baseball. And basketball is just, one, there's a lot more places to play professionally and get paid. I think you're seeing in the Olympics now that there's a lot of good basketball being played across the world. And, you know, if you get a choice to get paid to shoot jump shots or get hit by 300-pound guys, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? I'd rather get paid to shoot jump shots
without question
than get tackled by 300-pound guys. So,
you know, you said something that was so interesting. You said that you was about to quit.
Yeah.
And you didn't.
Yeah.
You know, so many people, I was having that conversation with my son this morning. He was on this thing about feel like quitting sometimes, right? And you said something that most people just give up, that extra step. Because what would your life be had you just quit and you not went to Chicago?
Yeah, you know, and when I got back from Paris after the month there, you know, I was already married, had a son.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I had a choice at that point. You know, obviously I was looking for somewhere at that point, though. It's October and all the NBA teams are gone or taken. All the overseas contracts are given up and nobody in the minor leagues had a job, you know, but I was getting up at 6 a.m. working out every morning.
Wow.
I was going to work and then I would usually work out again in the afternoon. You know, just kind of trying to stay ready for when the opportunity came. And the night I went down to Charlotte on a Friday night, I actually interviewed with Anderson Consulting. Was going to take a regular job with them.
Yeah.
And got a call that night from the team in Connecticut to come the next day. Got up on a plane, got there the next day, and you know, the rest I was ready to go because I had stayed prepared and gotten the opportunity and you know, made the most of it when I got it. And I think a lot of people, you know, I actually read a good quote online this morning. It said, you know, never underestimate the importance of the ditch along the side of the road. You know, they build culverts on road and there's a ditch right there. And sometimes we get in ditches in our life and we don't realize that sometimes they're there to teach us something or give us an opportunity to come out of it and be better on the other side of it.
I like that. I got to use that. But never underestimate the ditches on the side of the road. Wow.
Without those, a lot of those roads would be washed out, right? If you didn't have a ditch to direct the drainage and keep the road safe, then, you know, but sometimes we get in those in our lives, especially now. I think, you know, life's been hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, with COVID and we were talking about in the elevator on the way up this morning, just for my industry and the food industry right now, supply chain issues, and, labor issues. And, you know, I think it's, you know, always human nature that sometimes when things get tough, you know, it's easy to try to have a woe is me attitude, and trying to find some gratitude instead of having a bad attitude is always good.
Yeah, yeah. So what was it like going to Chicago?
You know, for me, it was a dream come true. You know, I grew up, I didn't grow up a Chicago fan. I grew up a Michael Jordan fan, obviously being from North Carolina.
Right.
And just getting a chance to get paid to play a game, something you've worked your whole life for. You didn't know if I'd have a pro career. Ended up playing for 8 years professionally, and it's probably 8 years longer than most people thought I would play. But, you know, when you're in it, I guess you don't, you know, you're just in it, like working your butt off, trying to make it, you know? And so at the time, I guess, while it dawned on me how, you know, great the opportunity was to be there, you know, it was the last dance, as they say.
I saw the series. Yeah.
And, you know, at the time you're just trying to enjoy it, but at the same time trying to hold on and be a part of it, you know, because for a guy like me, it was a lot of hard work and a lot of effort. And
so what was that like being on a team like that? You had Mike Jordan, you had Rodman,
Scottie Pippen, you know, Phil Jackson, all those guys. And, you know, great group of guys. I mean, super competitors.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. Judd Bushler and Steve Kerr, who were two of the guys on that team, used to always say, look, it's not like that. They're like, it's not like this anywhere else, right? Because, you know, we would come into a city at Wednesday night at 3 a.m. after playing the night before, and there'd be 400 people at the hotel waiting on us, you know?
Wow.
And just kind of a circus atmosphere, but at the same time, different too, in that was a group, you know, they were at the end of their career, really the end of that run.
Yeah.
And just learning how to be a professional, watching those guys on a day-to-day basis, and kind of getting to be a part of the circus was a dream come true, and something I look back.
You guys
on
won a championship that year.
Won a championship
ring.
Yeah, and you know, just blessed to be a part of that, because a lot of great players never get one. So
let me ask you this, right, before I move forward with the next phase of your life. So, you know, you know basketball a lot better than most. Is Mike Jordan as good as they say he was?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, he's the greatest player to ever play.
He's the greatest I've ever seen play, in my opinion, too.
Yeah.
But what was he like just practicing with him every day, on the court with him, game day? You know, what I was so amazed about him was just watching him, is that how he had the ability, not only the physical ability to play the game, but the mental toughness, the psychological part of it, where he could dominate you from a psychological standpoint.
Yeah, and I think, he obviously was built for basketball. You know, he's 6'6", unbelievable athlete.
Yeah.
You know, unbelievable work ethic. You know, all that stuff kind of goes without saying once you get to that level. You know, if you're going to be that good. But you know, I think for him, probably the difference was competitiveness. You know, quick story is, so, you know, he was an ultra competitor. I'm sure some people saw in The Last Dance where he and Scott Burrell kind of had a little, he used to be tough on guys, and Scott Burrell kind of took the brunt of it during that Last Dance season of just, you know, Mike's kind of ribbing and, you know, verbal assaults, for lack of a better phrase. And so, you know, we were playing in the finals, and we were up 3-1 and playing against Utah at home for Game 5, and everybody expected us to win it. And, you know, they're scheduling a parade for Saturday and all that good stuff. Well, the Jazz came out, played well. Michael ended up having like 35, but we lost at home. Right. So the next day we have practice that morning, and, you know, we've got to fly out that afternoon to go to Utah for Game 6. And of course, we have practice that morning, and, you know, the starters come in, and Michael's wearing sweats and low cut shoes, and, you know, they're not going to practice the Scottie Pippens and those guys who played a lot. Right. We walk through some stuff for about 20 minutes, and then the media gets to come in for the last 15 minutes of practice. So the media comes in, and the guys who need to get a workout in, me, Scott Burrell, Randy Brown, Keith Booth, we're playing round robin 1-on-1, and we're, you know, competing. Well, Jordan's got to stay in the gym because the media's there. And so Scott and Michael start kind of going back and forth, and, you know, Scotty says something like, hey, keep your old bones over there, old man. You don't want any of this, you know. And Michael's kind of going at him. Well, Mike had kind of heard enough, so he stood up and walked over and got in line to play pickup with us. And, you know, I think one of us had maybe 6 or 7 points at the time when we were going to 21. But, you know, here he is, having come off in between Game 5 and Game 6, and couldn't stand it that some other guys were out there competing, and that he couldn't get out there and show that he was better than all of us. So of course he came back and beat all of us, and then talked trash to Scott the whole way off out of the gym as he left. And, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, this is so irrational. What's he doing? He's going to hurt it. You know, why is he out here proving that he's better than Randy Brown and Rusty LaRue and Scott Burrell? You know, he's going to get hurt out here, in low cuts and sweats, but he just couldn't stand it. You know, he had to come out and beat us and show that he was the man, you know. And I think that's just the difference. I think there was some kind of a sort of an irrational competitiveness to him. And, you know, I think Kobe had the same thing. And
the
those
great
guys
I
have,
am,
you know, they have them where it's just, they're just different. They're built different. And then when you add to that the physical ability that they have, and that to handle the pressure and the day-to-day grind and stay healthy and all those things that go along with it, it's tough to do.
You played with some of the best ever played the game. You played with Duncan, you played with Jordan, you played with Scotty. God,
John Stockton, Karl Malone. I played half a season in Utah with Stockton and Malone. And, you know, the average NBA fan has just no idea how good those guys are. And how good the 12th guy sitting on the end of the bench is in the NBA. You know? It's just such a different level. The size of those guys and the speed of the game, and it's just a total another level. And, you know, I've been blessed to play with some great ones. Even at Wake, Randolph Childress, one of the, you know, best ACC players to ever play. And Rodney Rogers, I played with him at Wake. I mean, just really had a chance. Even overseas, some of the players I played with, just unbelievable talents. And it's
that's right. Childress was there with you, right?
Childress was there with me for 3 years. And my freshman year, Rodney Rogers was a junior before he left early. And just a chance to play with some really, really great players across my career.
So when you left the NBA, right, you came back home, right? And you went to work at Wake with Dino, right?
I did. Actually, I started, I did when I was 30. I kind of hung up my shoes. I was injured a lot in my last couple of years. I kind of realized at that point I was going to have to be a career overseas player. Right. My NBA sort of time was done. And so I took a job as coaching at Greensboro College for a year. And then I actually went to Forsyth Country Day. That's right. As the athletic director and head football and basketball coach there for about 4 years. I remember and then that. Actually, when one of the assistants left Wake, I came on board at Wake and got a chance to coach there with Dino for a year as an assistant, and then under Coach Bzdelic for 4 years. So, I got a chance to do coaching, and you know, I had a basketball academy I ran for about 8-10 years locally that an AAU program and all that kind of stuff I got to do. So
I remember
enjoyed that.
seeing you in the gym. You know, when you were coaching my son, you had a league that played, and you were out there playing with him. And he still got it, shooting from anywhere on the floor.
Yeah, well, you know,
Yeah,
that was back when I was a little younger.
yeah. You still relatively young.
Yeah.
So when you gave up basketball and now you're a businessman, right? And I've watched you from when you were at Country Day. I remember you at Wake Forest, and I've watched you. I've known you, and I've just been amazed at how everything you touch, you win at it. What causes, or what gives a person that drive to do that? And I'm asking that question because there are so many people that watch this off the cuff that are searching for success. You know, I heard somebody talking yesterday that success just don't happen then. Success is something that you constantly have to work at. And you said when you were talking about you were getting up in the mornings, working out, going to work. Meanwhile, you were still married. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously success is defined a lot of different ways for a lot of different people. You know, for me, you know, I've been blessed with some great opportunities, but I've tried to make the most of them when I've gotten them. You know, when I tried out for the Bulls, for example, Tex Winters, who wrote a book on the triangle offense, right? And there's a book out there on the offense that they run. And so I asked for a copy of the book before I went and tried out. And I'm the only player that've ever had request a copy of the book. You know, I think for me, you know, hard work is hard to be successful without putting in the work. Again, you got to be ready when the opportunity comes. When it comes to business, or even sports, I think surrounding yourself with good people, taking care of the people that work with you to help make you successful. I know when I was at Forsyth Country Day, for example, you know, I was an athletic director, and you know, one of the things I love about being a coach is getting to teach people. But I'm also smart enough to know that you got to have good players to be a good coach. You know, and so I think for me, part of my success has come, from personal hard work, and I've worked really hard, and I've tried to make the most of the opportunities, but also trying to surround yourself with good people, and help other people be successful. One of the things I love about my job now, working for Dairi-O, is that I get a chance to interact with a lot of good people. I still get to coach and lead people. Like, we have a lot of young people that work with us.
I know.
A lot of people that were their first job, you know, and we have a lot of great customers and people who come in that are regulars that we get a chance to serve on a daily basis. So I try to focus on, for me, you know, I try to focus on what I can do and not what I can't. And I think sometimes discouragement, I'm a believer, and so I believe discouragement is the devil's biggest thing he uses to distract most people and deter most people. Yeah. And so for me, trying to focus on what I can do and what the opportunity that the God's put in front of me today to be successful, and I'm gonna do the best with that. You know, maybe today it's being on a podcast. Maybe tomorrow it's having to hire a new manager. Maybe it's whatever that task is that I've got in front of me, just trying to do that thing the best I can do it.
Well, I want you to know that I appreciate you. I appreciate the friendship over the years, what you've done in this community. I tell you, Dory, so there's a kid that works for you named Jordan. He played basketball at Glenn when I was coaching at Glenn with Monty. So I came through the drive-through one day out in Kernersville. He took my order, and he and I were talking, right? And he hung his head out the window. We talked for maybe a good hot minute. And I said, "Do you know who you're working for, right?" And he said, "Rusty." And I said, "Do you know who he is?" And I gave him a quick rundown of you, right? And I was amazed that he knew none of the things that I shared with him, right? And that shows the humility that you have. A cat with a resume like yours would be taunting it, you know, to have played with some of the greats, to have an NBA championship, to have done the things that you have done. And that was one of the reasons that I wanted you here, because there are so many people that labor among us in this community who have done great things in this community, who have done great things in this world. And it's what I call some jewels that we have in the community. And I always talk about in this community, there's so many people that are trying to figure out how to get to where you are. How do I one day become a business owner? How do one day I become a coach? How do I get to the places in life that I want to be? I was at West Forsyth talking to a group of kids yesterday, and I was looking around the room. It was the football team, and I said, most of you will never make it in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
You won't. Most of you will never play at a D1 school. You won't, right? A few of you may. But what's your plan for real life plan? So did you have a real life plan when you was growing up? You knew that you were, most kids know that they have a gift by the time they hit high school. They know that they're above average athlete, right?
Yeah.
But did you have a backup plan?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, my whole goal when I was an athlete was to get a free education.
Right.
You know, I mean, if I could get a free education, and then I always, you know, my wife and I always said, look, if I can pay the bills and play a game, I'm going to keep doing it. But once I need to, you know, get a real job,
right?
You know, for me, it was I always was an entrepreneur. I knew I always wanted to be a business owner. You know, again, I kind of stumbled into coaching a little bit and did it for a while, and enjoyed it. But for me, it was always just, you know, trying to have an education and a skill set to fall back on, and always build my network of people that are, that I know that maybe can, you know, give me an opportunity at some point, to either run a business, own a business, coach a team, whatever the case may be. And, you know, I like to, you know, you mentioned, you know, a lot of people have goals. And I think sometimes when we're trying to, you know, I say, look, here's where I want to be, right?
Right.
Whether it's an NFL player, for a football player, or basketball. And sometimes those can be, when you see those, it's like, okay, now how do I get there? Right. And I always used to tell my players, like, look, you know, if you want to play in the NBA, it starts with being the best player in the gym today. Right. You want to make be the best, you know, middle school player first. Worry about being the best player in the gym today. And then when you're the best player in the gym today, worry about being the best player tomorrow. And it's that doing, you know, being successful in the thing you're doing right in front of you. And if you do that, good things will happen.
Right.
You know, for our employees, you know, if I want to be a manager at a store, I work at a place and I want to move up. Well, if I'm the best employee they have and I focus every day on doing the best job I can and being great at it, right? Good things are going to happen. You know, I'm going to get recognized for it. And then I move up, and the better I do with a little bit of responsibility, the more responsibility I'm going to get. And I think sometimes for people, and even athletes and regular folks who are trying to achieve something and have these goals, whether it's, like you said, being a business owner, right? How do I get there? Well, you know, start with learning something, being great at it, and being good at where you are. And usually good things come out of that.
You know, I came through, when I realized that you were involved with Dairi-O's, I came through the Clemens store, and I had my two youngest boys with me, Jalen and Isaiah, and you were actually working.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't just walking around, you were working, right? And when we drove off, I said, did you realize that's Rusty LaRue, NBA championship, 3-time All-American? And I just started running off your resume, and I said, he's actually inside of Dairi-O's working, right? And so Jalen said, he played with who, Dad? And I always tell my kids, you got a smartphone, Google it, right? And so I told him to Google you, right? And he said, what? And I said, yeah. So he said, why is he in there, right? And I said, he's probably finna own one of the stores or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I said that to say that your humility, your work ethic didn't change after the NBA.
No, and I think, to me, I think that's the cornerstones of being successful. I think, you know, my dad used to always tell me sports and really life in general is, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah,
you know?
That's true. Politics too. Yeah.
You know, it's so while, you know, I love my championship ring. I never wear my championship ring. You know, it was great.
I've never seen you with it on.
You know, I never wear it. I bring it out occasionally, but it's, you know, and I'm proud of it. It's not like I'm not proud of it. It's not like I'm not proud of everything I've done.
Yeah.
But, you know, what I did yesterday, you know, if you know, what am I going to do tomorrow? And what am I doing right now? And Giannis, for the Bucks actually had a really good press conference. He was talking about how, you know, if I try to live off my accomplishments from yesterday, you know, that's not gonna be any good for me. I'm not humble. You know, I got to be humble about what I've done. And then if I'm worried about the future, you know, it's prideful. Or if I'm boasting about what I'm gonna do, that's prideful. But if I just focus on the moment I'm in, And we had a guy with the Bulls who was a mental guru who used to talk to the Bulls teams about that all the time. Like, if you try to rest on what you did, or let the last play affect the next play, or worry about the future affect what you're currently doing, it's going to hold you back. And so for me, I've just always tried to focus on, again, being good where I'm at, you know, paying my dues to be successful. Because if I do that, good things will come of it. And I also think too, you know, winning a championship is great and being a pro athlete was awesome, but you know, there's a lot of people who on a daily basis do a lot of great things in our community. Police officers, firemen, you know, our public servants who do things every day. You know, people have no idea the stress and time and effort that goes into doing that. There's people who get up every day and put their life on the line to make sure we're safe. And, you know, we appreciate what they do. And I think sometimes in our society too, in our Instagram society, you know, sometimes we put value on the wrong things. And I think that, I know for a lot of young people too, while success is great and, you know, being a pro athlete is great, there's a lot of ways you can serve the community and be a hero in your community doing a lot of different things.
So as we get ready to go home, a couple questions I got left for you, right? First, how the family doing? Wife?
Good. You know, great. I've got my two boys are doing well, and I was telling you one just moved up to New York and is trying to get into modeling and acting, and then Cooper is at home still doing a little of the same type of stuff, and Claire is going to be a senior at West Forsyth this year, and
that's right.
Volleyball player. So we're proud of her and wants to go on and be a college athlete. So we're good. We can't complain. You know, we've been blessed.
So let me ask you a question. What would you say your greatest accomplishment is? If you look back over your life, you know, what you 40, what?
I'm 47. I'll be 48 this year. You know, my kids probably, being a dad is a great accomplishment.
I'd agree with that.
Just, you know, trying to raise human beings is probably one of the hardest things you'll ever do in this world.
I get that.
And I think most parents can attest to that. So, you know, just, trying the way I live my life is my greatest accomplishment. I think trying to be an example day to day. And, but for me, my kids, I think just being able to, you know, went through a tough time with Riley when he passed.
Yeah, I remember.
Just, surviving that and getting through that, and then, helping my kids be successful is probably my greatest accomplishment. So.
You're an amazing human being, man. I love you. I love your spirit. You're a hell of a dude, man.
I appreciate that.
You know, no, we appreciate you for coming. We appreciate you for stopping by. I got one last question for you. If you could give advice to any young kid out there, female or male, what would you give them? Because I get frustrated every day I go and I see people searching for this, searching for that, trying to figure out how do they do this, right? And then they see a guy like you and they think that it's instantaneous how it happens overnight. What advice could you give somebody?
You know, I talk about the ABCs sometimes when I speak to groups, you know. One is attitude, having a positive attitude. Yeah. I think sometimes, especially with social media and stuff, we only see the positive of everybody else's life, and we can get discouraged. But having a positive attitude, right? The one thing you control is your attitude and how you feel about things. Nobody can decide for you how you feel about something. Only you can. Right. So trying to have a positive attitude for A, and then B is believing in yourself. You don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you, right? Positive self-talk, using that positive attitude to believe in yourself, and then, you know, having high character for C. And I think, you know, on a day-to-day basis, if I tell people, say, hey, you want to be successful, one, define for yourself what success is for you. You know, what do you want? What's your goal? Where do you want to be? Right. And then once you do that, have a positive attitude, believe in yourself that you're going to get there, and then work hard for it. And if you do that and don't make excuses for yourself and don't find a reason to not be successful, be positive every day and try to find a way to be successful at what you're doing today. And I guarantee if you do that on a day-to-day basis and put in the work and be willing to work for it, that good things will happen.
There you got it. I really appreciate you coming by as always. Anytime you're in the neighborhood, stop by. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep being the flagship. Keep being something that we look forward to. Once again, Rusty LaRue here with Bobby Kimbrough Off the Cuffs. Thank you.